Like, we only have a few seconds left.
Five. Okay, calling the organizational meeting of Monday, November 3rd, 2025 to order at 5 p.m. There's an echo.
No, they're all.
I'll try this one. Can you hear me on this one?
Much better.
Okay, we'll start with the land acknowledgement. We acknowledge the homeland of the many diverse First Nations, Métis, and Inuit peoples whose ancestors have walked this land since time immemorial. We are grateful to live, learn, work, and trade on the traditional territory of Treaty 8. First up, adoption of the agenda of the November 3rd, 2025 organizational meeting. Agenda, does anybody have anything to add or remove? Does someone want to make a motion to accept that agenda?
I'll make that motion, your worship.
Thank you, Orin. Thank you, Councillor Ford. That's carried. Appointment of deputy mayor.
Excuse me.
Oops.
Just a call the
Call for a
question
vote.
and.
Oh, all in favor, sorry, all in favor. Carried, there.
Thank you.
Okay, appointment of deputy mayor.
Mayor Shannon, good evening, council. So first up on your organizational meeting agenda is the appointment of deputy mayor. So in accordance with the procedural bylaw, the deputy mayor is on a rotational shift of 4 months, first going alphabetically forwards and then backwards, just to try and get you serving as deputy mayor at different times of the year. However, I understand that council may desire to change that, in which case I've provided an option 2, where you could pass a motion operating outside of section 5.3 to appoint a deputy mayor in a different rotation schedule. And there is a section on the upcoming GMP to discuss the procedural bylaw if council wants to make that change. Otherwise, the deputy mayor schedule is laid out in the procedural bylaw, and then we just confirm it at the organizational meeting for the year for clarity. And so I will leave that discussion to council.
So councillors, any comments on how you would like to see that roll out? Councillor Ford?
Get the buzzy mic now. Can I just yell?
Sure.
Yeah, it's just a matter of out in Lamb there. Thank you, your worship. I would actually like to, like, no disrespect to anybody around the table, but I would like to defer to option 2. And my reason being is we have lots of new councillors at the table. Myself, I'm going into my 12th year, and Councillor Carr is going into his 5th year. Moving forward, like I've been pondering this for quite a while, and in the procedural bylaw, it actually doesn't state where we should start. It just says alphabetical rotation. So going back into history from our previous procedural bylaw, we've always, to my knowledge, it's always been the councillor that has the most votes that usually takes the first term of deputy mayor. So if everybody's in favor, I'd like to nominate Brad Carr for deputy mayor.
Does anyone else wish to speak to that?
I'm in favor of that. Call for any other nominations.
Are there any other nominations off the floor for deputy mayor? Okay, well, we'll take it right to a vote then.
Apologies, Mayor Shannon, are you making that motion?
Was Orin making that motion or?
Yes, I'd make a motion to nominate deputy or Councillor Carr as deputy mayor for the first term.
So we'll have that despite section 5.3 of the current meeting procedures bylaw number 2174, council appoint Councillor Carr as deputy mayor until the 2026 organizational meeting.
Thank you.
That's okay?
Perfect.
So we'll call it to a vote. All those in favor of Mr. Ford's motion? Carried. So Gail, will you now, lead us through the appointment of the committees and organization?
Yes, thank you. So next up, we have the council appointments to boards and committees. This was that giant list that was given to you at the beginning, the swearing in ceremony, and then everyone put their names forward for the committees that they would like to sit on, ranking those from, interest from 1 to however far you decided to rank those committees. So I only included the rankings up to 12. We had a lot of interest for a lot of committees, so that seemed sufficient. So where interest exceeds availability, those are highlighted in red. There's also some highlighted in orange, and that was where, there were 2 counselors who were interested, but there was a clear gap in the interest level. And so I had just taken it upon myself to suggest that they could be the alternate, just given the gap, but that's highlighted in orange for clarity for you, just in case there was a reason you wanted to speak to perhaps being the primary and not the alternate. So I wanted to ensure that was clear for everybody. If there was a large gap in the ranking, I left it and highlighted it as red so that you could debate amongst yourselves how you wanted to do that. Where we were lacking members or needed more, that is highlighted in yellow. And if there's no indications, then that means we have sufficient numbers. So in the report, I'm hoping that councillors came forward today with kind of thoughts around which committees they're willing to remove their names from, ensuring that we have just the right amount of people, or where they're willing to move their name to alternate, or just to present a little bit of a case as to why they feel they should be the representative on a particular board, in which case, for the procedural bylaw, we go to a secret ballot and you vote for the councillor in which you would like to see appointed to those boards. So you'll see on the desks in front of you, just behind your nameplates, there's little papers. If that's what we have to do, it's the list of all council in alphabetical order. You would just check off who you're voting for. In some cases, you might be voting for more than one. For example, the MPC, there's 3 members required, right? So we might have to indicate more than one name. And I have my very official secret ballot collector here, and we can go through that process. But otherwise, we might be able to narrow a few down just through simple discussion by council. And so I will leave that to you. Or I suppose we can start. We can start with the Community Services Board. Number 1, we only need 1 council rep and we do need an alternate. So for clarity, the alternates are to attend when the main primary representative is unavailable. So if Councillor Babalola was assigned to the Community Services Board, but he was unable to attend, he would reach out to Councillor Ford and say, hey, I can't go. Are you able to attend on my behalf? So that's what the alternate is for. There are some committees, like we've discussed previously, that cannot have alternates just due to the legislation or other rules, but most of them have alternates. So I will leave it to council discussion for Community Services Board number 1 for how we would like to move forward with that.
Being that this, well, sorry, Madam Mayor, just a question. Being that under the council reps, I'm going to use Community Service Board as an example. Beside my name, bracket 2, beside Councillor Babalola, bracket 3. What are those? Is that their priority number?
Correct. So that was the numbers that were indicated when people submitted their. So that's what the bracket is behind everyone's name. It's the number that they submitted as their ranking. So if they had a 3 behind them, it was their ranking in third place.
So between you, Orin, then, are you gonna take the main position, or are you alternate, or how do you guys wanna do that?
As I mentioned before in other discussions, I would personally rather be an alternate on this particular board, just because my other priorities on other boards have meetings on the same night at the same time, so it just makes more sense for somebody else to be the primary.
So, Councillor Babalola, would you be willing to take that on as primary?
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead.
If you have meetings of other groups, should you be the alternate? That kind of just questioning, or is that gonna be a problem?
It shouldn't be a problem unless there's somebody else on council that would like to be the alternate for the community services board.
If nobody wants that, then we'll leave it as is and move on to the next position.
Okay, so as standing, I have Babalola as primary and Ford as alternate. The next committee is the MPC. This is the Municipal Planning Commission. We need 3 council members appointed to that. There are no alternates for this committee just due to the legislation. And so I will leave it to council discussion as to whom would like to remain appointed to that committee.
So Brandon, are you good to step off of that and leave the 3 ranked, the ones that are ranked above you there? Or do you wanna put it to a vote?
I feel like the MPC goes in part with the economic development aspect that I ran on and campaigned on. So I'd like to see my name stand on that. Prior to running for council, I considered joining the MPC. So it's something that I have a lot of interest in. One of the companies that I actually do business in is involved in development. So it's something that I am very interested in staying in. So I think I'd like it to go to a vote if possible.
Okay,
Sorry.
oh, go ahead.
Sorry, Mayor. My only question is how does the vote work when there's 4 of us? Do you just vote for your top 3 or, okay,
Okay, so if the remaining 3 wanna stay on this, then it'll go to a vote. Are you sure?
Yep.
Okay, so Councillor Carr withdrew his name, so we'll stick with the 3.
But he had. Counselor Carr has been around and he has a lot more experience with it. I'll take my name off and instead, Counselor Carr can stay there.
See, I was thinking we had great representation with those 3, that's why I was happy stepping back. But,
I'm willing to take my name off of there if you're saying.
okay, thank you.
Okay, so it's Carr, Deuce, and Babalola. And no alternate on that one.
Okay, so we move on to the, well, I'm gonna skip over the Peace River Municipal Library Board, unless we have any concerns with that. If you wanted to, you have the option to withdraw your name as well. If you put your name forward, you're the only one on there and you're like, wasn't necessarily my priority, and I'm getting other committees that I now don't know if I have the time. The library board, per legislation, we can't have an alternate. Would you like to see your names down there?
If you think it's too much for you, I could take that one on if you wanted, because it's something that would fit in. It's on a Saturday, so it might work.
Yeah, I think it's okay. It can work for me. It's on Saturday and 4 times a month. I mean, once a month rather, yeah.
And apologies, just for clarity, it's the Peace Library Systems that is on Saturday. This one is the Municipal Library Board, so this one is not the Saturday one. It's just, yeah, Thursdays, yeah, you betcha. Okay, so we will let that one stand. Next one is the Peace River, or the Peace Regional, sorry, SDAB, the Subdivision and Development Appeal Board. So this one is a regional board. You won't always sit on town of Peace River matters. You're more likely to be sitting on regional matters, but this one you do have to be cautious when sitting on the MPC and as a counselor sometimes when making decisions, that if you were part of an MPC decision, then you can't be the person helping with the Peace Regional SDAB decision. However, because we're part of a regional, that's not as likely to be a problem just because we pull from that regional pool and sometimes try more often than not to pull from the regional partners when making decisions, so that people feel like, you know, their decisions are being contemplated by people who haven't been involved in the decision. Not always, but sometimes. So that is, it also comes with training. So you have to take a training course. If you're new, you take the new member course, and then every 3 years you do a refresher. If you already have your training, you're just taking a refresher, but that's every 3 years that needs to be renewed at a cost. They just instituted a cost for that. They were doing it free previously, which is now $300 through the Land and Property Rights Tribunal. And per legislation, again, we cannot have an alternate. We also can't, per legislation now, appoint or have more than one counselor sitting for a decision when they're sitting on that board, a panel.
So this one would have to go to a vote then.
If people don't want to withdraw their names, then yes, we would go to vote for this one, absolutely.
Okay, so Councillor Foley sits on it right now, and Babalola and Deuce have their names as well. So if either of you don't want to step down, then we'll go to a vote. So how would you want to do that? Because there's no alternative either. You either have to both step down or else it goes to a vote.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm aware of Councillor Ford's involvement in this program since inception, and I will withdraw my name. Thank you.
I'll withdraw my name as well.
Thank you, Councillor Deuce. So Mr. Ford remains on that committee.
Guys, Madam Mayor, I still have the 1 year of the legal training left, I believe. So I don't have to go for any training right away, but we would have to relook at this in 1 year.
Okay, we'll note that.
Theoretically, hopefully that would align with the next organizational meeting, hopefully.
Yeah.
We do have a public member at large, also appointed as a Town of Peace River representative, and they just renewed their training. So we do have a rep that is up to date. Next is the Education and Joint Use Committee. We have Ford standing. We don't have an alternate. This,
I can be an alternate on that one. Or is it, yeah.
great. Okay, moving on to the Peace River Aboriginal Interagency Committee. We have Mayor Shannon put her name forward for primary and just looking for an alternate.
Madam Mayor, if I may, if we can step back to the Joint Use Committee, if you would take primary and I'll take the alternate. Just simply, I just read here that they meet at 9:30 a.m. That's during my work.
Okay, I could do that. We can switch that around then, Kayla.
Sorry, that 9:30 a.m. reference is under the Peace River Aboriginal Interagency
Hang on.
Committee. The education is once a year and as required.
Okay, then I can leave it. I read the,
Okay, they are typically day meetings though.
then I will switch.
Okay, yeah, just. Okay, so we'll do that swap. So, okay. So the Aboriginal Interagency, and again, I should say, if we don't appoint an alternate, I mean, it isn't the end of the world, it just means someone wouldn't be able to cover, but it is good practice to appoint one. So anybody alternate for that committee?
Councillor Carr will be willing to be the alternate on that.
Excellent, thank you. On to North Peace Housing Foundation. Again, we can only have one representative and per legislation are not able to have an alternate. 3 names standing.
I can withdraw my name. I was number 7 on my priorities, so Councillor Carr is way ahead of me as far as his priorities. And so I would withdraw my name from this one.
Thank you, Councillor Deuce.
Like, Councillor Deuce, I will withdraw my name too. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Babalola.
So on to Peace Library Systems. This is the one that is typically on Saturdays. Babalola you have your name forward. Again, I will ask if you'd like to see that stand. And also, if we would like to appoint an alternate for this one.
I could put my name forward as an alternate for that one. And it would be a good match for you because you're already on the other library board, so that would be a good fit for you.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, Peace Regional RCMP Community Advisory Committee. This is one that I have, that we have, sorry, on the GMP agenda for discussion, but currently is still standing as a council committee and may continue depending on council's direction. And Councillor Ford has his name forward for that one, and we need an alternate. So I'd ask if you'd like your name to stand, and if anyone would like to put their hand up as an alternate.
Yes, I'd like to put my name forward as an alternate. I've worked with Councillor Ford before on some SEPTED stuff. That's the crime prevention through environmental design committee. So I would be interested in this.
Thank you, Councillor Deuce. You can be added as an alternate to that.
Okay, Peace Regional Waste Management Company. Per legislation cannot have an alternate, and we need 3 council reps, and we have 3 council reps with their names put forward for this one. So as long as everyone's okay with their name standing, we will move on from this one. Again, the rural fire protection area, another one likely disbanding with the renewal of the agreement. It may not be a necessary committee anymore with those changes. 2 needed, unless anybody has anything they'd like to add or withdraw their name, we could leave that as standing.
We used, I can't remember, but besides this one here, we used to have a fire committee, but it was specific to the town of Peace River and County of Northern Lights. And it really didn't have much to talk about, like the fire services agreement, just more, then we only met, I think, quarterly. Just wondering whatever happened to that committee, or is this kind of the same thing?
I'm honestly not sure. That might predate my time here, but I could certainly look into what happened.
I think this is the one.
This might.
Yeah, because on that committee, there was, I remember myself sitting on it. Back in that time, there was Counselor, it was two terms ago. As well as another counselor, plus the Director of Protective Services at that time was Chief Harris. And then we met with the same amount from County of Northern Lights.
I'm not familiar with any other committee except this one. The agreement is more of a fee for service agreement, so it doesn't necessarily make sense for us to have a committee where the town of Peace River is weighing in on the fee for service for another community, and that's why this would be disbanded and done through the agreement. And
The committee I was talking about didn't discuss fees and services. But I'm not sure what happened to it.
I would have to do some digging on that one.
Thank you.
The Northern Lakes Northern Lakes College Community Education Committee, Counselor Forsyth, you had your name forward for that one. And so seeking if you would like your name to stand, and then if someone would like to put their name forward as alternate.
I would be willing to put my name forward as alternate on that one. So that Forsyth will be primary.
Okay, thank you. Next, we have the Peace River and District Chamber of Commerce. Again, two names have been put forward. We do need an alternate, so have the option to move into the alternate position or go to secret ballot.
So Brandon had it ranked number one on his list. Councillor Erickson had it ranked at number two. So
I'm willing to go with the alternate.
alternate, okay, so Councillor Deuce, he'll be primary and Councillor Erickson will be alternate.
Thank you.
This one is the Peace Regional Health, or sorry, the next one is the Peace Regional Healthcare Attraction and Retention Committee. This one typically meets quarterly on the first Tuesday of the month. Was recently established by law. It's quite an intensive committee, actually, lots of work done by the committee members, and it's chaired by the town of Peace River and run a lot by the chair in that one. And again, just one council rep needed for that one. We do need an alternate, and we have 3 names before us, so just looking for direction on that one.
Councillor Carr wishes to withdraw his name from that, so that would leave myself as primary. I'm rated higher than you on that one.
I'm fine to withdraw
as well,
or be the alternate, yeah.
Councilor Forsyth, I'll shift you to alternate, that's okay. The next one is the Northern Alberta Elected Leaders, NEAL sometimes referred to. This also includes the subcommittee, the Community Rail Advocacy Alliance. Per their terms of reference, you can only have 1 voting member. However, in the past, there has been quite a bit of interest in this one. And so council has allowed other members to be appointed, keeping in mind that only one can be the voting member. And we can have an alternate. The alternate attending on behalf of the primary would then become the voting member. So the only thing to keep in mind is cost. Obviously, these ones are typically, they do have the ability to attend virtually, but they are typically held in person in and around the northern region. Each community kind of volunteers to host. Peace River has hosted twice in the past 2 or 3 years. And yeah, so certainly able to appoint more, but only one can be our voting member.
So on this one, I have it rated as number 1 on mine. I'd like to remain there if possible. And then Carr has just removed his name. So Erickson is next in line with his ranking. So Councillor Deuce, do you want to vote or do you want to pass it back to Erickson for?
I'm fine withdrawing on that, Madam Mayor.
Okay, thank you. So that would be mayor primary and Councillor Erickson will be the alternate, or the second body, sorry.
And so I'm just going to clarify just a little bit. So both will be appointed as primary, able to attend. Mayor will be voting, and should you be unable to attend, Councillor Erickson would then take over as the voting member. Yes, okay. Next, we have the Mercer Public Advisory Committee. This one is the one highlighted in orange. There were 2 names put forward, but their rankings were quite separate. So I did assign Councillor Deuce as alternate and Forsyth as primary, if everyone is okay with those standing as is. The next two are, all of council, so we don't really to deal with those ones. Moving on to our ICF committees. So County of Northern Lights. We only need two council reps on this one. We are able, under our agreement, to appoint alternates. I wouldn't recommend appointing more than one alternate on this one, but quite a bit of interest. So we'll look to council for whom would like to keep their name standing and who would like to withdraw.
So the two, it's Carr, Babalola and Erickson are the top three there, so I don't know if you guys wanna do it between the three, have two with an alternate, or if you wanna put it to a vote, but what does everybody think about that?
I'm okay to withdraw my name, Mayor Shannon.
Okay, so Councillor Forsyth has withdrawn his name, he was number 10 on the list. So we have 4 left. Do we want to put that to a vote, or do we need to, does anyone else, Councillor Dukes?
I'm fine to withdraw my name on that as well.
Okay, so we need two primaries and 1 alternate. On that. So between the 3 of you, does one want to be an alternate, or how do we want to have a vote?
I can be on, an alternate on that one, yeah.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Babalola.
Okay, now we have our Northern Sunrise County ICF committee. For this one, we need 3 members. And under this agreement, we cannot assign an alternate. So just again, looking for whom would like to withdraw their name, or if we should go to for ballot.
Why is it 2, 3, and 2? Just curious, why is it not 3, 3, and 3?
I honestly am not sure why. The agreements were negotiated with each individual county, and they would have come up with, the committee structure under those agreements. So each one just must have had kind of a different thought on how to get.
Shannon, can I answer the question, please? So is it the advice of administration that we should have the same people sitting on these 3 different committees, or how does council feel about that?
In my opinion, I don't think it's necessary to have the same people. I could see benefits in both directions.
I'm gonna defer, Madam Mayor, to Director Bell, because we weren't part of the original negotiations, and I wouldn't be able to speak to whether it'd be beneficial or not. They are all going up for renewal.
Yeah, they are.
So those committees are gonna be critically important at this point in time. And I said, you experienced today.
And I think my face was
Trying to recall and.
sort of doing the working out the pros and the cons. They are a significant amount of work. So that is the downside of having the same individuals on each committee. Your administration does a good bulk of the work for you, but the process is intensive. It is not a small process, so that would be a significant reason to have differing individuals at each of the different committees. There could be some bonuses to having some consistency. However, each other municipality are slightly, they have differences on their side, so the agreements will not be automatically the same, hence why you'll see some differences in the makeup of each of the committees. So just for a capacity perspective, I would suggest breaking it up amongst different members of the council. You may regret being the same counselor on each one, because they are substantive.
Thank you.
Good question.
Okay, so we're back to, the Northern Sunrise County, so we need to. On this one, so then it would be, Babalola. Myself and Erickson, that would be the second one, Erickson.
Excuse me, I can withdraw on that too.
Okay, if, Councillor Erickson withdraws on that one, we'll take, Forsyth then, is the number 8. For the alternate, or no, there is no alternate on that one, so we can have him as number 3, yes, that's 3 on that one. So does that work for you, Councillor Forsyth?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Great. So moving on to the next one, our last ICF committee, the MD of Peace. Again, 2, and for this one, we are able to have an alternate, so seeking who would like to have their name stand. We would like to go to alternate, or to go to secret ballot.
So on this one, Ford is not on any yet. Perhaps Erickson could be the alternate and Babalola could be with Ford on it. Or are you on an ICF already? You are on one ICF?
Yes, I'm already on one. I can withdraw from this. Thank you.
So if we had Ford. Councillor Deuce, would you consider sitting on that one?
You have 3.
I think you have 3 already on here.
2, we just need 2.
Where
We're in the MD of Peace one. We need 2. The one,
Oh,
that one is already done, we need 2 here. So Ford and one other.
So, sorry, I have, Ford, Erickson, and Forsyth left
Yes,
standing.
Councillor Carr pulled his name.
yes.
Councillor Carr and Babalola have pulled their names, so Ford, Erickson, and Forsyth. If one of you wanted to move to alternate, then we would have,
I could move to alternate.
well, Forsyth is rank 9, he should probably move to alternate if there was one.
Plus he's a primary on the other.
I'm good with that, the alternate.
Oh, no, you aren't on another one, so that does make sense then, that Erickson be the alternate, yeah, that's true, because he's a lead on another one, so. Yeah, that's right, alternate Erickson and Ford and Forsyth primary.
okay, so I'll just confirm that one. We have Ford and Forsyth as primary and Erickson as alternate. This. Yes, okay, perfect. Okay, next one, we have the Mighty Peace Tourism Association. Forsyth was, had his name forward for this one, so just looking if you would like your name to stand or if you would like to withdraw, given any other appointments, and also looking for alternate.
I sit on that committee right now, but if, Councillor Forsyth wants to be primary, that's fine, I could take the alternate.
Mayor Shannon, I'm fine to step down. Councillor Ford has also indicated he has interest, so.
Yeah, I thought I had my name on the sheets when I handed this in, but,
Oh, my apologies, I may have missed
no,
that.
no, I think I put the word can instead of putting a number 1, but I would be very interested in this one.
I'll go alternate on that one.
Okay, so we have Councillor Ford as primary and the mayor as alternate. The Economic Development Committee is our next one. Again, only one council rep position available with an alternate position also available. We do have 3 names put forward. There is a large gap here, and so one could theoretically move to alternate if that was how you wanted to proceed.
So on this one, Councillor Deuce is on the Chamber of Commerce, and this kind of goes together with that suite of committees, so I would imagine he's ranking the highest, so if he was willing, I would imagine you could be primary and Erickson far behind there in the gap could be alternate, if that worked. And Babalola, Councillor Babalola, you could either withdraw your name or it could go to a vote, because you're 11, 8, 9, 3 down from that.
Yeah, Madam Mayor, I will withdraw my name. Thank you.
And I'm willing to go as alternate.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, we're getting there. The Peace Regional Mental Health and Addictions Task Force, again, another one that we're going to be discussing on the GNP agenda. And again, two names that were put forward that were quite separate in their ranking, quite distant in their ranking. So Ford as primary and Carr as alternate was the suggestion, but happy to take feedback on that.
Madam Mayor, I would withdraw my name.
Okay, Councillor Ford withdraws his name. Withdraw or go to alternate.
I can go to alternate,
That's what we were.
but not primary.
We were that last term. where
Yeah.
you were the alternate.
Okay, so Carr would be primary? Okay,
Okay, so I have Councillor Carr as primary and Councillor Ford as alternate. The Peace Region Economic Development Alliance, or otherwise known as PREDA. Again, we can have one council rep and an alternate, two names put forward, Councillor Dews and Mayor Shannon. So just looking to whether we would go to special ballot or someone would like to go to alternate or withdraw.
I would like to be the primary on this particular committee. So we either go to a vote or you, if you want to be alternate. That's up to you.
I would defer to you and I would go as alternate.
Thank you very much, Councillor Dews.
Okay, now we have NTAB, the Northern Transportation Advocacy Bureau. Again, IC wasn't super consistent sometimes when I moved people, but here we are. So the mayor was ranked 3 and Forsyth and Babalola ranked 12 for this one. So just looking if we're okay with the mayor standing as primary, the mayor wants to keep her name there. And if someone wanted to, if one of you is okay with remaining as alternate, if someone wanted to withdraw their name, or if we wanted to go to secret ballot for the alternate position.
So Councillor Babalola and Councillor Forsyth, one of you can be alternate. So you'll have to decide between the two of you. Or vote.
I'm okay to withdraw, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Babalola. So that would be Forsyth as the alternate.
Thank you very much. Okay, next is the Mighty Peace Watershed Alliance. Councillor Babalola has his name forward for that one, so just looking to confirm if you would like to have your name stand.
Yes, I would like to have my name there. Thank you.
The Regional Energy Committee, also sometimes known as the Peace Regional Energy Committee or PREC. Per the terms of reference, there is no alternate, and we have 2 members, which being the mayor plus another member of council. So the mayor is listed, and then we have 2 councillors with their name forward, Councillor Forsyth and Councillor Carr. So just looking who would like to withdraw or if we would like to go to secret ballot.
Councillor Carr withdraws, so that will be Forsyth for the alternate. Or Forsyth for second primary.
Nobody wants to use my secret ballot. Save them for next year. Okay, and last but not least, the new Peace River Policing Committee. This committee is not quite off the ground yet. We will be soon looking for public members at large and filling those positions. But we can kick off with council and start getting their enhanced criminal record checks complete. So looking for 2 members to stand here. We have 3 names forward. There cannot be an alternate here, otherwise we would have to pay for another enhanced criminal record check. So council, when we passed the bylaw, we didn't appoint alternates just due to that reason largely. So just looking for direction for these last 3 names.
It's up to you.
I'm good with that.
Okay.
So Councillor Forsyth has stepped down, so that leaves Ford and Carr for that one.
And we've made it through the list. And so we will be looking for a motion from council, and you will just note that the recommended motion has this listing forming part of the minutes. And that is simply because what is attached to the agenda will not look anything like what council passes here. And so just for extra clarity of who ended up getting appointed where, and just making sure that we translated everything correctly.
Madam Mayor.
Yes.
Just so everybody's aware, I did speak to our staff sergeant the other day when I had a meeting with her, and with the enhanced criminal records check, she told me it was just the vulnerable sector check. I believe that you have to have, which I've already turned in. Unless I'm wrong.
I do not believe that that is the case unless the province has made that determination, but the last time I talked to them, that didn't seem like the path that they were going. It was going to be a little bit more in depth than that.
More than the vulnerable?
Yes,
Okay.
but I will have to 100% confirm that. It could be that they have made a determination and that will be the case. Just the last time that I had talked to them,
Okay.
that wasn't, but very well could be now.
Okay, so we're looking for a motion for the councillor appointments for boards and committees.
Please.
I'll do that.
Mr. Erickson moves. All those in favor? And carried.
And just so for clarity for our members of the public, it was moved that council appoint members of council to committees and boards of council as discussed during the 2025 organizational meeting, with a list of appointments being attached and forming part of these minutes.
Theo Miller, did you?
No, I was just gonna ask for the motion to be read out.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay, proposed regular meeting schedule.
Thank you, Mayor Shannon. So now we'll move to the meeting schedule. So we set the annual meeting schedule at the organizational meeting. The procedural bylaw does speak to what the meeting schedule typically is. And does allow us to make some changes for, a summer meeting schedule or during the Christmas holiday. And so just for extra clarity for our members of the public and for yourselves as you're making plans during the year, just having that laid out annual schedule passed at the meeting is really helpful. So the couple of things to note is that we've included December 2025. This is just a little bit out of the norm, simply because typically we pass that at the last organizational meeting. However, we thought it might be important to add a third regular meeting of council on the 15th, simply due to the volume of work, including budget, that we need to get through. So we thought, let's just add that as a regular meeting now, just for simple clarity. Proposed summer meeting schedule, we're proposing just one meeting to happen August 10th. So that's one council meeting for the months of July and August, that being on August 10th, with no GMP meetings. This simply gives administration time to get some work done. We're not just constantly creating council reports every week. We've got a little bit more time. It also allows people to take a summer break, take some vacation, and not able to worry about being here for a council meeting. If something were to come up that was very timely and sensitive, we are able to call a special meeting. That is a flexibility allowed to us. And this is up to council. We certainly we could put more meetings in. take away that meeting. It's completely up to council, but these are just things of note that I want to make sure is brought to your attention as we're passing the schedule. GMP committee meeting has not been included for January 5th, 2026, simply due to the holiday season. It makes it a little bit difficult to get out a timely agenda for that meeting. And then just a question to council, if you wanted to adjust the meeting for June 8th, that is sometimes a travel day for FCM because FCM likes to go to the very last minute and they put an event on Sunday evening. And some people do like to stay for the full conference and the full time. And it will be in Edmonton this year, so that does sometimes mean that additional councilors may want to attend, should council so approve that. And so we may, the council could look at simply canceling that June meeting or moving it to the Tuesday, like a holiday Monday, that kind of thing, but something for council's consideration. Otherwise, the schedule is in front of you and I look to council's direction on that.
I wanted to bring to attention the council to the summer schedule. Does everyone agree with having a summer schedule and having just one meeting per month? Or do you feel that we need to have more than one meeting in the summer as we do all year?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'm fine with the schedule. As Ms. Parsons has said, if there's something that does come up during the summer, you still have the opportunity to call that meeting.
Okay, any comments from anyone else?
I felt that it was a little light in the summer with only one meeting. I didn't think there was. I don't even know how to put it, but we were going from a GNP and 2 council meetings to 1 meeting, and I just felt kind of detached personally, and maybe that's just me, I don't know, but I wouldn't have a problem with having two light ones as opposed to one big one, maybe. I don't know. Just a thought.
Councillor Deuce?
I feel like it might be advisable to have one in July. We are going from June 22nd to what is it, August 10th, which is 6 weeks. So I personally, I think that's a little bit too much time in between meetings for us to discuss stuff. It might be a late meeting in July, but I think it's relevant to have one possibly.
Okay, anybody else want to speak to that?
I will just say, if we do add a meeting, and let's say that it was, the administration says, you know what, this is a really light meeting, like I'm not even sure. We also have the ability to cancel the meeting. So if council wanted to schedule an extra one and we get to the time and it turns out that we're not feeling the same, that is also an option open to council. So it won't hurt if you add one and we need to remove it later. That's what we do.
Okay, we can do that. Does anyone want to make a motion on this?
Apologies, was there a date suggested, perhaps July 13th?
13th would be Woodbury. Ms. Miller?
Your worship, I just want to bring to council's attention as well. Typically in December, we select an evening for council meeting, greeting, Christmas greeting with the public. And I think if you'd like to do that this year as well, it would be good to select that date while everybody's here.
Is that the same meet and greet that we had at the NAR station last year?
Yes, yes, it is. So we plan to do it at the NAR station again. Thursday nights are nice evenings. Or
I believe typically in the past, we've done it the first Thursday of December. If that works.
Does that work for everyone?
we can pencil that in as well.
That'll work.
Okay, so that is Thursday, December 4th, 2025, Council Christmas Open House. 2025, not 2026. But you're keeping me on my toes, thank you.
Okay, so if someone wants to make the motion. Have to read.
I've moved the council adopt the regular scheduled or meeting schedule as amended.
All those in favor? Carried. Legislative responsibilities of council.
And so I'll just add for that motion, we're just gonna have, also forming part of these minutes, just so that any additions are. For that schedule. And so the legislative responsibilities, this I will leave to you to read on your own. I'll just point, it's section 208(1) sub D of the Municipal Government Act instructs that the chief administrative officer must ensure that council is advised in writing of their legislative responsibilities under the act. So this is just a way that we cover that box every year, ensuring that these legislative responsibilities are shared with you in writing. But many of you will be familiar with this as we've gone through a lot of that through orientation and your sessions last week. So that unless there's any questions, we'll leave that there.
Does anybody have any questions? And if not, can someone make the motion?
I can make that motion, Madam Mayor. I'll move that council accept the briefing note regarding council legislative responsibilities for information.
All those in favor? Carried. And we are at adjournment. Who would like to make that motion?
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Councillor Ford. We are adjourned at
All in favor?
opening 5:57. All in favor?
And so I'll just note for our members of the public, I am going to pause the live stream just for a minute and we'll do a shift over to our GMP, but we're just going to resume this live stream. So you don't need to switch any channels or anything. We'll be right back in our GMP meeting on the same stream.
Okay, so we're back and we are now going to call to order the Governance and Priorities Committee meeting of November 3rd, 2025 at 5:58. So we will adopt the agenda. Does anybody have any additions or deletions to that? D.L. Miller?
Yes, I do, your wish, Madam Mayor. I'd like to add these under closed section 11. Item 1, potential funding opportunity, access to information act, section 19, disclosure harmful to business interests of a third party. Thank you.
Thank you. Does someone want to make a motion to adopt the agenda with changes?
I can make that motion. Move that council adopt the November 3rd, 2025 Governance and Priorities Committee meeting agenda as amended.
Thank you, Councillor Deuce. All those in favor? Carried.
Have a hard copy of that.
Adoption of the minutes. Has everyone had a chance to read them? And are there any alterations? If not, does someone want to make a motion to adopt the minutes?
I'll make the motion that council accept the adoption of minutes.
Of the September 2nd, 2025 Governance and Priorities Committee meeting. Okay, all those in favor? It is carried.
Excuse me.
Pardon me?
The next is delegation presentations. There are none. So we'll move on to comments from the public, and there are nobody in the gallery. Review of bylaws or policies. Kay Parsons will be speaking to this.
Hello again, Mayor and Council. So as we talked about in the organizational meeting, coming forward before you now is the meeting procedures bylaw. Understanding that council may like to change how the deputy mayor is appointed under that bylaw. So currently, it's under a rotation schedule every 4 months, allowing each member of council to serve as deputy mayor twice in their term. Simply allowing everyone to have this experience. However, previously under bylaw 2085, which was just only recently repealed, the counselor was appointed on an annual basis, with the first one at the organizational meeting being the counselor with the largest number of votes. And then afterwards, someone gets nominated from the floor. If we have more than one nomination, we would typically go to a secret ballot and do nominations that way. Both of these approaches are ones that I have seen done previously in other organizations under procedural bylaws. I'm not overly familiar with other approaches. I mean, perhaps how they're selected annually, but these are the most typical that I see, these two forms. Happy for other ideas if people had them and I could research those. So simply just looking for some direction for council for how they would like to see that deputy mayor position appointed under their bylaw.
So the change to the bylaw was only made last year. Up to that point, it was the option two of the first year, whoever got the most votes, and after that it was voted on. So it was only changed last year, right?
That's correct, yes. So we actually haven't put the rotation schedule into implementation or into effect. This would have been the first time using it. The bylaw was changed just recently, just mid this year. And so this would have been the first time utilizing this. Otherwise, the 2085 bylaw approach was the one that was previously being used and the only one to use in my time being here.
So councillors, what do you all think of this? Do you want the old way, the new way? Your thoughts? Councillor Ward?
I think still buzzes. I myself like the old way. One reason is because there's a change of pay schedule for the deputy mayor. So on a 4-month rotation, it's a little bit of extra work for administration. But I do like the old way, and then you just reappoint your deputy mayor at your organizational meeting every year. And it gives every councillor the chance if they want to go for deputy mayor. I've been on council enough that I've seen one person be deputy mayor and re-elected for the 4-year term and a 3-year term. But I also sat on a council where the deputy mayor changed every organizational meeting. But I do like the old way.
Councillor Hughes?
Personally, I think it's important for consistency. To have the deputy mayor be on a 1-year term. Previously on councils that I've sat on, or committees, I should say, if someone couldn't get a hold of the mayor, they would get a hold of the deputy mayor as the second in command. So personally, I would like to see it go back to the 1-year term.
Anybody else?
I agree.
I like the old system simply on thing of administration, as Councillor Ford said. The added work with changing the payroll and the signing authority and all that, and Councillor Deuce also makes a good point, so I would certainly support the old one.
Thank you, Councillor Carr. I too would support the old way. I think consistency is important in that role. And I just don't think 4 months would make a difference either way.
So, if, for a motion, if we could just have a motion directing administration to bring the procedural bylaw, back for amendment to the deputy mayor, rotation schedule.
Okay, does anybody want to make that motion?
I'll make that motion.
You have to read it out, Rob. There you go. Right there.
I propose that the council direct the administration to bring a bylaw amendment for bylaw number 2174, meeting procedure bylaw, to the next council meeting, amending how the position of deputy mayor is selected. Thanks, Marty.
Does anybody have anything else to add or? Okay, all those in favor? It's carried. Unfinished business, we have none, so we'll move to current business, review of council boards and committees.
Okay, I think this is the last time now to hear from this. So as we touched upon in the organizational meeting, we have two committees of council up for discussion here tonight. The Peace Regional Mental Health Task Force is the first. So this task force was put together in 2022 by some citizens in the community concerned with, mental health and addictions and the limited resources that were available in our community for these individuals. A presentation was given to council of the day in April of 2022, seeking appointment of a member of council to the task force. And so several councils did do so. You'll see that in your memo here. And so ultimately, this task force is quite informal. It's a group of concerned citizens advocating together. It is not a council committee specifically. Council committees are appointed or done through bylaw or through ad hoc terms of reference. So if you had a working committee that was project specific, you might form that as an ad hoc committee with a terms of reference with a specific end date because it's for a project. Otherwise, council committees are typically established by bylaw. So this is one that's an independent citizens group where we've appointed members of council to this. And so we do suggest some cautions when we do this, simply because appointing members of council does give that committee a little bit more legitimacy in front of, provincial members when they're advocating, etc. It perhaps gives it the look that it is an established committee where it's not. Not saying that you can't have someone appointed there, you have, and you can continue to do so. Just something to consider. There can be a little bit of liability concerns there. If someone were to get hurt while doing committee business, it's not a town committee. And so just wondering, do people recognize that? Just little things like that. So recently the task force forwarded a terms of reference that they drafted, guiding their operations, and to help with some of that expressed concern regarding lack of communication and transparency. So in the past, it has been a concern that we haven't necessarily received, some of the minutes and communications of what exactly the committee has been up to, and they've heard that feedback and are committed to being a little bit more communicative and, bringing those minutes forward and getting these terms of reference going. So in this one, looking for direction from council, if they would like to review that terms of reference and provide feedback, the committee is looking for council to review and provide feedback on those terms of reference. should council wish to remain a member. So there's kind of three options. We'd remain status quo, provide that feedback on the terms of reference, and continue to appoint council members. You could direct administration to bring forward a report on avenues to formalize this committee, perhaps suggesting to the committee of ways, or, you know, finding out if a community wanted to take them under their wing and create a bylaw, that type of thing, if the task force is open to that. Or you could direct us to respectfully withdraw from the task force. And I should note, this is not to disparage any of the work that that committee has done, any of the, you know, advocacy that they've done. This is just simply information for council, and council has sat on that committee, so you're gonna have the best direction as to how you think it's best to proceed with that committee, because you've been the most involved, and had the most interactions with that committee. Would you like to discuss committee by committee, or should I present all and then have discussion?
Maybe committee by committee.
I'll leave the task force now for your discussion.
Okay, so councillors, I imagine I'll ask, Councillor Carr to speak to it first, because he sat on it.
I kind of would like to defer any decision on this till later meeting. I know that the task force, I believe, has their next meeting on the 27th of November. And I know there's been some changes on the committee through the election. I have to admit, I was wondering what direction the committee was going in for a while. So I'd like to discuss it with the committee and see exactly what we're doing. We did come up with new terms of reference just before probably a month or two ago. And I know there are new members involved, or new positions anyway involved in that. So I'd like to defer a decision until maybe after that meeting and talk to that committee and see where they're going, and maybe bring a report back at that time, and maybe make a decision at that time if possible.
Does that make sense to everyone? Yeah. Okay, we can move on to the next committee.
The next one is the Peace Regional RCMP Community Advisory Committee. Again, this is not a committee of council, however, it is an established society under the Societies Act. They've been a fairly active group. They run the Lock It or Lose It campaign. They provided advice to council, for example, the SEPTED initiative that came before council. They liaise with the RCMP and the Northern Sunrise Rural Community Crime Watch Association. They supply a speed reader board to the town for use, and so on. But however, recently through amendments to the Policing Act, we've been required to establish that policing committee. That's the one that hasn't quite gotten off the ground yet, but will be very shortly. And so given this, there is likely to be a fair amount of overlap between the two committees. Not 100% overlap, but by any means, but some. And so just looking for council's direction if they want to provide direction to maintain membership with both, to withdraw, or to wait to give this more consideration until maybe the 2026 organizational meeting, allowing more time for that regional or the Peace River Policing Committee to get off the ground. So again, so remaining status quo, perfectly okay. We're just reviewing these items with council.
Councillor Ford, you currently sit on this. Can you give us your thoughts?
Sure, I've sat on this committee for the last 11 years. This committee has been, I think they started late 80s, early 90s, so it's been around for quite a while. So with the new policing committee that Ms. Parsons was talking about is on a higher level than what this committee is. We're a regional committee that exists with the members from the seniors community, from both of the high schools when we can have those positions filled. Alberta Health Services is there. Every surrounding municipality is there. We also had the correctional center there at one time, but they actually decided not to attend. So it is, as Kayla said, we've run multiple programs through this committee at a regional level. So for instance, when we're talking Lock It or Lose It, we've run, as everybody's aware of it, we've run it in Peace River. One of the members from the committee organized it. We went to Grimshaw and we helped them run the committee and vice versa. So we run the Lock It or Lose It program through here. We've done lots of regional work, like for instance, like the speed reader board. So we will rotate that around through the various regions, MD of Peace, Northern Sunrise, Napa, you name it, because we all were a part of that. We run the risk program through that committee, better or formerly known as the DARE program that's in the schools. We also run some mass casualty stuff that I know our chair has been running through there. We also do what is called a Safe Summer Strategies program, which through a council you can't solicit, but through a not-for-profit you can. I know I've hit up Councillor Dew and his businesses before for positive ticketing. So that positive ticketing is given to our first responders, which now we can include our CPOs because they would be part of that, as well as the RCMP, where you're not just getting an ice cream for a young kid that's being safe, but you could get a $10 gift certificate to Mr. Mike's or a $10 gift certificate to Canadian Tire. And we have done that in the past. We also run a child safety car seat program, as well as bicycle safety. So the stuff that we do on this committee, very, very important, very much boots on the ground. There's lots of activity, there's lots of work, but it's at a regional level and it's not at the same governance level as the new policing committee that's coming forward. So I would recommend that we leave that one as is.
Anybody else? Councillor Hughes?
Yeah, when I was sitting on the Economic Development Committee, we were invited to a couple of these meetings. I participated in the Lock It or Lose It program, putting little flyers on people's windshields. I think it's a worthwhile worthwhile committee to stay a part of, considering the increase in crime in the area. So I think it's something that bears some importance to us.
Just to add to that as well, like, because we have such a vast membership from the region on that, so we, like, when we have the schools involved, they take that information back and pass it on to the students, but vice versa, they have the opportunity of bringing concerns that the students in the school have and share it at the table. The same with the seniors. We have a representative from the Aboriginal Society, so it is a very, very good committee.
Anybody else have anything to speak on it? If not, does anybody want to make a motion? Ms. Parsons, do we?
I was just going to suggest that, and thank you for that background. That is very appreciated, and that's what these discussions are for. And so really appreciated that feedback. Thank you. Direction could be to defer the mental health task force discussion to a future or the mental health task force committee to a future meeting for further discussion. And we'll just wait a little while to let that committee settle in again a little bit and bring it back. And to accept the RCMP CAC portion of the report for information. And we'll just leave that and that would be leaving that as status quo, and council is agreeable to that type of motion.
Okay, so will someone make that motion?
I can make that motion.
Okay. Councillor Deuce will make that motion that Kayla
That Kayla said.
put together. Okay, thank you. All those in favor? Carried.
Thank you, Kevin.
Number 2, next up is Mr. Fisher with the Highway 743 Government of Alberta Collaboration Opportunity.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. So I had the province is currently in the process of tendering upgrades to Highway 743. We've been working with them through the summer, just where their roads kind of touch our roads and coordinating some details. But they asked if we would like to partner on some road improvement projects. So I kind of worked with the department to identify areas where the roads would be more rural cross-section as opposed to curb and gutter. There's a section here where there is curb and gutter, but mostly it's rural cross-section pieces. And their pricing is quite a bit more favorable than I would receive if we had done it as a town project. The big difference in pricing is due to the volume discount that they receive because they're doing so much paving. Which ends up being a very small adder relatively to their project as opposed to if we were doing it ourselves. So the pricing estimate that I kind of put together with the information I received from the department was $450,000. That includes the roads up in West Hill commercial areas from the sort of the Walmart to the intersection with the traffic lights. From there to the south, so along the road by the Canadian Tire, over the rail track and toward down 80th Street a little bit, sort of where it transitions from rural cross-section with ditches and like a crown road to where there's curb and gutter. And then up 78th, sorry, I said 80th Street, I meant 78th Street, and then on 80th Street, I get those two mixed up quite frequently. So up 80th Street to the highway. So that would be sort of the portion that they priced out. There's some overlap with their existing project already, so some of that is captured in what they're doing. So the pricing was quite favorable, $450,000. If I was to do this as a town project, I would probably be estimating at least twice that for the surface area that I've identified with them. In our capital plan, basically annually, we have an amount that we've allocated for overlay paving projects in town here. That number is sitting around 800,000 in 2025, 2026, 2027, could be 850. Can't quite remember. I think it's 800 going forward. The question I'm looking for you as we start preparing our capital plan for presentation with council in the end of the year here is, would you like us to do this as an additional project, meaning we would fund this out of reserve and keep sort of the overlay project that we've got continuously, meaning we would get a little bit more paving done in 2026? Or would you like us to try and fund this project out of that pot that I've got allocated as a placeholder current? That's the gist of the direction we're looking for. We haven't passed the 2026 budget. It's out for tender right now from the province. And I have asked them to include this because the pricing is so favorable. So they would be including this in the project. The direction I'm looking for is whether or not this is coming out of the $800,000 that I've got allocated for overlay, or if we're going to fund an additional 450 for reserves to do this. And then I would have the other 800 that I would plan on for other paving projects.
So we either decide to do two projects or one project, basically.
Correct. But this one, my recommendation would be to fund this additional work out of reserve, and then I could probably tackle another painful spot in town.
Hey, anybody want to speak to this one? Councilor Ford?
When you talk about the overlay project, and that 800,000, does that tie into the neighborhood renewal program? Where they're doing the underneath and then doing the overlay on top after the fact? Or does that affect this any?
These areas would be fairly light in terms of utilities, the ones that are highlighted. So I wouldn't be worried about shooting myself in the foot, metaphorically speaking here, by including these as overlay.
So the 800,000 that's in the overlay project does not affect the infrastructure renewal program that we have?
That's a separate program. And we're not ready to have that conversation yet because I have a whole bunch of work to do. But I think going forward, that program needs to look different for our taxpayers to get the work done.
Okay.
Councilor Carr?
you said maybe another ugly project in town. I know there's a few of them. Would you be referring to 101st Street possibly being looked at as part of that money, or is that a separate again?
That's a separate pot that is currently funded. So,
Okay, thank you.
Counselor Lewis.
So it says here that administration, has proposed the following areas. So you guys just looked at every road in town. How did you judge what areas should be chosen?
yeah, so, there's a couple things. One, I wanted it close to their project area, so I'm not paying for additional mobilization, right? So they're working on Highway 2 on the West Hill. They're doing some work at those intersections where this work is identified. So those crews are already going to be there. Is sort of the first big one. The second one was I was looking for rural cross section. And the third one, because it's mill and overlay, I really didn't wanna, I really hate digging up new pavement. It breaks my heart every time I have to do it, and sometimes we do. So trying to minimize the number of utilities, so that's sort of the premise for the roads that were identified here.
Okay, thank you.
Counselor Carr.
I actually was gonna ask you about these streets this last summer because they're absolutely brutal, absolutely brutal. Any idea what is causing that damage? Are we going to fix this and then have to deal with this again in 10 years? Is it because of overweight equipment? Is it just the way it was done? Is it the base? Is it like, do you have any idea what has caused it? Because those have gotta be the worst roads in town.
Some of it, I think, is age, Councillor Carr, especially like you can see sections of it where it's starting to kind of map crack. That kind of means that the binder is getting old and coming out. I don't see big chunks where it's settling. The section to the north of the traffic lights on 78, it actually looks like it's a concave road instead of crowned properly. So where the water is running down the center of the road, it's eroding it out, and I think that's where most of that damage is. But I agree, it was very bad, especially this summer. We did some temporary patching on it, but I think the right thing to do here would be to mill it out and overlay. And again, I picked these spots because I thought they were the lowest risk for this kind of work. And the rural cross section, like the crew that the province is gonna hire, they're not used to having to work around utilities, work around valves, work around manholes. These areas are very light in those things.
Counselor Lewis.
Just to follow up here, it says that, to be funded from our operating reserve. So if we were to go ahead and approve this 450,000, that's a typo? Okay, is there clarification on that?
General infrastructure, my apologies.
Okay, so bearing that in mind, if we choose to do this, will that affect tax rates, or how does that look going forward?
No, the reserves are independent of the tax rate. Where it would affect tax rate is if we're using reserves to fund our operating funds or operating expenses. That's really not it's really frowned upon. Different that. So it would be independent.
Thank you.
This other little piece here, is that, the section by the DMI townhouses that leads to meet up with that old road?
Specifically the lower section, so sort of where the road to the trails, the trailheads are, sort of from there down the hill, sort of what's envisioned of that. And again, that one is in pretty bad shape as well.
Okay, does anybody have anything else to add, or is anyone willing to make a motion? Were you looking for a decision today?
No, mostly just direction, like that you were comfortable with us including an additional in the capital plan. You'll get an opportunity to approve the 2026 capital plan at the end of the year. So we would it just gives us direction on how I'm gonna prepare that going forward, so.
So you don't need a motion on this, just,
I'm really looking for direction right now, so I think Ms. Parsons would be able to do that.
Sorry, the motion as recommended does just provide some direction to indicate your support for funding that from the general infrastructure reserve, and then just asks for us to return it to a future council meeting for formal resolution, so that formal resolution direction could certainly be during the capital budget discussion. So this, the motion as proposed simply just indicates your support for approving that 450K to come from, Director Fisher, the general infrastructure reserve. General infrastructure.
I'm looking at Director Mugford, but I believe that's the one. It's got a longer name. Okay. The one with the longer name. So it's.
So Mr. Parsons has worded the motion. If anybody would like to,
Yemi's turn.
Yeah, sorry, I was just gonna say, and for clarity, I think we're still planning to have a capital workshop with council where we can discuss the plan, 5-year plan, and get a little bit of clarity. So this is not the last time you're gonna see this. We're certainly gonna talk about what that other $800,000 overlay projects that I've got going forward for the next couple of years might look like, and we can get some feedback, and then we have some discussions. But I think that there are some really gnarly roads that we would want to look at, sort of the next 3 at least.
Councillor Carr.
You said it's just going out to tender with the province now. Any idea how long till we would have a idea how accurate our $450,000 would be?
Not sure. I think they're usually posted for 6 weeks, 5 to 6 weeks.
Okay.
I think by the year end, we might, if they share it, they might not award it for 60 days after it's closed. So. And their budgeting cycle is March, so they could postpone it and then talk to them about adding more or less.
Or if it came in higher than what we expected, we could always withdraw at that time anyway, could we not?
Yeah, we would talk to them about negotiating it out, when before it's awarded or while it's awarded. There would be a change order to that project, but we'd be sunk for a little bit of cost in terms of design, but not a lot. Thank you.
Director Mugford.
Thank you, Commissioner. Just for clarity, it's the tax supported capital reserve, buildings and engineered structures. So if we could change that last. I changed the.
It was the long name.
Okay, so Kayla, Ms. Parsons has the motion worded. We need someone who is willing to put the motion on the floor. Mr. Carr will do that.
Are you willing to read it out, Ms. Parsons?
Yes. So move that council indicate their support for approving an additional $450,000 to complete highway overlay projects in conjunction with transportation and economic corridors. Highway 743 upgrade project with such dollars suggested to be funded from the general infrastructure reserve, whatever Mr. Mugford called it, and further directs administration to return this item to a council meeting for formal resolution.
Thank you.
Does anyone have any more questions or anything to add? All those in favor? Carried. Next up, we have reports, and first up would be Director Bell. Community Services Department, 2025 third quarter.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Before council is a quarterly report of great length. So I will not go through it extensively this evening. However, I wanted to bring to council's attention sort of one of the hot topics, as it were, the hot tub. Thank you. The progress on the hot tub project. This project started in August with a slightly earlier shutdown. We did extend our normal shutdown date later into October, and we were able to reopen for normal operations to the public, October 25th, this past Saturday. With the steam room available, which for a while it has been cordoned off because of the construction, site. I provided council a little bit of some visuals because that always, tells you, the whole story, as it were. Some before and afters that were in progress, demo was completed. So the main basin work was prepared, and most recently, though this would come in my next report for the next quarter, we have poured concrete in the main basin floor, and we're working on the walls now for the hot tub and the back filtration room, which is the first set of photos. That's where the offending breaks is in the filtration room slab, below grade, sorry. So those have been replaced, and new concrete has been poured in those spots. So the project proceeds. We are on target to have that section of the facility, that amenity, open in the new year. So it's a 5-month construction period, much to the chagrin of those who came back on Saturday, and we're hoping to see a brand new hot tub there. But we've been very clear in our communications that it was a 5-month construction project, but people were hoping it was open. It is not yet, but it's moving along. In addition, I also wanted to point out the Arboretum, the Arbo Revitalization Initiative. The group that is working at the Arboretum, we have a memorandum of understanding with the group, this small committee that has come together. And new signage is being ordered, new interpretive signage for all the trees. Permanent power is being installed. Over the summer, I worked with Kenry Electric and assisted the group to sort of see what we could get from ATCO. ATCO came back with some very high numbers, but they have since lowered some of their costs, which has been great, which allowed the group to proceed with permanent installation, because we were looking at an alternate solar option, which wasn't going to be super great in terms of the amount of power that would be available. So this is a preferred method. The Kenry Electric piece has proceeded, and I believe ATCO is starting. I don't know their timeline on when they're going to be done, but this will provide power to the site so that the winter lights can be installed. It's not a high capacity amount of power. There is going to be limitations because unfortunately, for whatever reason, that particular area is sort of a dead zone, and the alternate for full options of the gamut of power would have required a full transformer to be installed, which is a significant project, far beyond the bounds of what this particular group was capable in terms of financial. So that's moving ahead. Lots of other activities. This is our biggest quarter for activities. This again is that July, August, September timeframe. So the Canada Day events, all the Paddle the Peace programs, summer programs and such. Lots of activity, Your Worship.
I have a question on this Green Municipal Fund, School Roofs Program grant. It says the grant offers up to $125,000 for capital projects. Is that the whole amount of the grant you can get, and do you have to like match it, or what are your guidelines around it?
There's a kind of a multiple opportunities within this grant. We have a maximum of 125 opportunity, so the maximum amount. But because we are northern, rural, under 10,000 community, we may get upwards of 80% of our costs to a maximum of 125,000. But we're looking at an approximate project cost of about 210,000. So hopefully we can get the whole 125, because that would be a significant contribution for a gap that's been in place for about 40 years. That Glenmurray School was built mid-60s. with no sidewalk in front, so that's a bit of a huge gap in our network for pedestrian safety to a school, to boot. So we've applied, so far I've been successful in round one. It's a multi-layered process, so we'll see where we land in the end.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Otherwise, the only other, item I'd like to point out is, as part of our normal, new maintenance cycle, because this was a new, facility that was installed in 2017 or 2018, the Lower West Peace Tennis and Pickleball Courts. The sport courting, surface, 5 to 7 years on average. We're gonna build it into our 5-year operating plan. Hopefully we can spread it out to 6 to 7 years, but it's up to Mother Nature how she treats surfaces for us. We will have to replace that every 5 to 7 years, and we just replaced the sport courting this past July, I believe, maybe partly into August, and we were able to add 2 additional pickleball courts, lines painted at the site. So now we were at 4 courts, now we're up to 6. So the pickleballers are very happy.
And another couple questions. Navigation pop-up. Could you explain a little bit what that is? I haven't really heard of that before.
We were approached by the RCMP on a project that was originally done in City of Edmonton and then sort of tested in a pop-up format in Wetaskiwin. I believe. Yes. And what it is actually bringing all the service agencies together in one place during one specific period of time to attempt to engage individuals at higher risk that are not, services are not always easy to access. Agencies, programs and services, if you don't know where to go into the community, especially in provincial buildings and other formal settings, so not always inviting and welcoming to members of the community that aren't comfortable in those formal environments. So we're bringing all those service agencies together in one space. We're looking at Sagatawa's, they're a partner in this project, in their gymnasium at their site. So we're attempting to have all those service agencies there to assist the clients in sort of a one-stop shop idea. So whether they're looking for addiction services or need to tap into child support payment information, or the gamut will be broad and wide. So we're gonna give that a test. We're looking at hosting it in January, February, and possibly doing that every 6 months based on how that first one goes. The province is potentially our link through the RCMP. Staff Sergeant Lacey is looking to see if we can receive some funding from the Edmonton model from the province.
And is this a new concept?
Yes.
Just recently?
Yes, I don't know if it was City of Edmonton or somewhere in Edmonton was sort of the first location where this started. They have made that a permanent location in Edmonton. So I'm down at a conference at the end of this month, and myself and my programmer are gonna go do a tour of that site to see how they operate. Not that we're looking at a permanent location, but how we can translate it into the pop-up format.
Okay, my last question is around outdoor rinks. When do you start flooding those, or what is the process to that now?
Oh, outdoor rinks. They are, and Mother Nature has her own plan for us sometimes. We attempt to have a minimum of 2 to 3 open for the Christmas break. That is 100% weather dependent. We've had great success some years of installing them, and then she has a different plan and melts them on us. Especially our rinks with the asphalt base. That's where we really run into a lot of delays and setbacks because of that black surface just attracts that sunshine and we end up with problems. We have our Parks Lead, our new Parks Lead, Sydney. Can't remember her last name, Kingdon, I believe. She has installed outdoor rinks, so she'll be taking more of a lead this year with the support of Public Works. So we're hoping we can have a little more consistency because the four guys from Public Works get pulled away regularly, hopefully not that regularly. This winter for water breaks, snowfalls, all those priorities take precedence over installing the outdoor rink. So Sydney will take more of the lead and we're hoping we can get them more rinks in prior to that Christmas season. But again, weather dependent, very weather dependent.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Does anyone have any questions for Director Bell? Oh,
Not a question, but just to add to the pop-up program, so the first goal of it was done in the city of Wetaskiwin, and it was very, very successful. So when Director Bell talks about having all of those services at the table, it's everything from people to help you create a resume, help you get your driver's license, show you how to possibly search for work, mental health, that they're all at the table. So it's a perfect opportunity for individuals to, like Director Bell said, that don't really want to go here or go there. It's a perfect opportunity to for an individual to come and, hey, everything is right here. I can do this to help me help myself get out of the rut I'm in, and it's very successful.
Councillor Carr?
I believe it was Rotary came to us a year ago or 2 years ago, asking about a legacy project. Have we moved on that at all?
We did, we have a concept design for the back half, however you wanna look at it, for the water park. But it has gone sort of stale in a sense. The organization itself is rather small. There's only 3, 4, maybe 5 members. So it's gone a little stagnant. I'm gonna reach out to them again to see if it is something they are interested in still participating at some level. Otherwise, we are still planning, it's in my capital plan that council will take a look at, or it's my proposed plan that you can decide if you're would like to have it still there for 2027, 28. And we'll look at grant opportunities and sponsorship opportunities. So we are still looking at doing it. It's a need because that back half is the original outdoor pool underneath. And a lot of what was done above ground for the spray apparatuses were they're not the prefabricated components that we purchase now. They were a little bit sort of glued together, a little homemade system. So we can't continue with what we're doing and just piecing it together. But it did sort of peter out a little bit, but it's still on my books because it needs to happen regardless.
If there's no other questions for Director Bell, we'll move on to number 2, which is infrastructure and development with Pat, or Director Fisher, sorry.
Thanks. I really don't wanna go through the whole thing unless you guys have specific questions. Lots of this summer has been kind of trying to get capital stuff done, get our operations crew to get their work done and get ready for winter. We had snow last week and we already had sand and salt mixed. We switched over starting November 1st here to winter operations. So every day I've got an operator going on good road track checks and making sure that if it snows overnight, so that they get some salt out onto the hills and intersections. That's kind of the big stuff. We got line painting done this year. We contracted that out. So I got a really good idea of things that I missed. I didn't get all the curves included in the tender that went out. But also a really good idea on cost and how much to budget for next year going forward. It was a much less painful way of getting the road line painted this year. I don't know if you guys noticed, but they're a little bit straighter. And there was a lot more efficient. It freed up my operations to get a bit more work done on doors and stuff. They had the patching machine out. We went through a pretty good amount of product with that. kind of have developed some procedures that haven't used it for a little while. And kind of supporting projects. That's the base stuff. There's a bunch of little stuff in there.
Does anybody have any questions for Director Fisher? If not, we'll move on to number 3, which is the monthly development report.
Yeah, just kind of an update, on some of the permits that we had. We did have, I don't know if it's included in here, but last week we did have to deal with a stop work order. Somebody had some fairly large structural modifications without any permits at all. And by the list of it, they were things that would have probably required engineering involvement, so, our development officers were being Chris, so, our director Chris, sorry.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions for the development report? I have a comment on number 8. I was happy to see that they're putting residential units above the main floor downtown. That's bringing people downtown, which we want to see more residential. So that's really nice to see. Anybody else have any comments on that one? If not, we will move on to number 4, Corporate Services Department with Director Mumford.
Thank you, member. So I'll just fire through a few highlights here. Within IT, very busy this quarter, getting work on updating devices from Windows 10, which is no longer being supported, to Windows 11. So in most cases, we're just replacing devices, done over 60 so far this year. And IT is also actively supporting our ERP conversion project, which is changing our accounting system from our current Diamond software to a future software to be determined. Moving on to employee services, some work there has been on updating the workplace violence prevention policy. Payroll is pretty active with 29 ROEs, records of employment issued, so that's offboarding a lot of our summer casual temporary staff. Also, one of the employees, our payroll coordinator, is she's involved with the core audit. So every 3 years, we have an external core audit. Core is our safety certification. And so this year is the year for the external. So our auditors went to Lexington, and we had auditors come from Slave Lake to complete the audit. So that was completed at the end of September. Moving on, in Q4, we're looking to roll out our new learning management system for our health and safety program. And yeah, payroll will be busy. Payroll and HR will be busy getting prepped for year end. For financial services, Q3 was quite busy for staff there and completing the work related to the evacuation. So in total, there was approximately $1.1 million of funds spent locally in local business for food and accommodation as a result of the Red Creek evacuation, and we submitted that claim to the Leave Opportunity for Reimbursement. Also, for the first time in several years, we engaged in the use of bailiffs to recover unpaid taxes on mobile homes. So that work was, the notice was delivered in the end of September, and the work was completed in early October, and we're working with the bailiffs to determine what the next steps are. There's a process in terms of how long things need to be sold, and then they need to dispose of them before we actually collect the funds. And as I said, it's the first time we've done it in a few years. So, and then looking forward, finance is heavily involved with the budget and utility rates updates. They are also prepping for the year-end audit, and we do have an assessment review board hearing in early December. There's currently 4 assessment appeals which have advanced to the hearing stage. Possibility that they might be resolved prior to that, but either way, we've got a date set for that. Moving on to communications. So in Q3, our Facebook page had 1.9 million views. It had a pretty significant increase in followers to our town's Facebook page, so that's up to 10,500. Which we noted that since our current communications coordinator started, we've had a almost 53% increase in our followers on our page. Also, the 2024 community report was finished and printed. And looking forward to Q4. With the new mayor and council, we'll be looking for potentially some changes to the strategy in terms of what contents we're putting out, and there's certainly a topic that was talked about during the election, communication from administration, so we're looking to move forward on that file. I've also included our quarterly variance report for your review. In general, we've put in some conservative forecast changes. I'm not going to speak to all of the variances here, but from a financial perspective, we are on the right track. We're 3/4 through the year. We're at 78% of our budgeted revenue and only 71% of our budgeted expenses on the tax supported side of things. And on the utility side of things, we're at 77% of budgeted revenue and only 70% of expenses. So both of those are variances in our favor, which I think is all generally very positive. Also, we included a statement of financial position. So I want to highlight a couple of things on this document. First is that the September 2025 numbers are unaudited, whereas the December 31, 2024 numbers are audited. And that these are unconsolidated statements. So if you're looking at the audited December 31, 2024, and comparing that to our published financial statements, the numbers won't jive. And it's because our finalized ones include our proportion, so 3/7 of the Peace Regional Waste Management. And it also picks up the library. So this is just the town's position. But again, I'll highlight that, we have a significant uptick in cash, which you would expect because of the timing when we receive our property tax payments. The bulk of those come in June, July. And a portion of that then is recognized as deferred revenue because we're only recognizing that revenue as we earn it. So the final quarter of that will be picked up in Q4. But overall, if you look at our net debt number, it decreased from -5 million in the end of last year. It's now just a hair over -1 million as of September 30. So again, those are all really positive changes. And that concludes my comments. So any questions? Thank you.
Any questions for Director Mugford? No questions? We'll move on to number 5, Protective Services Department with Director Kress.
Madam Mayor, councilors. For the quarterly report in September. Since July, the Protective Services team has educated the public on speeding, illegal turns, registration renewal, and unsightly properties. Our current priorities are to address encampments, unsightly properties, and traffic enforcement, commercial and vehicle enforcement, and taxi inspections. We continue to work closely with the RCMP and the fire department to keep Peace River safe. Starting in November, I will be taking over the fire department as the director. Since Officer White's joined the team, we've carried over several traffic stops, including both passenger and commercial vehicles, and he's also gone to businesses, educating them on the proper protocol for commercial vehicles. We've charged several individuals for warrants and public intoxication over the last quarter. Let me see, we did a bylaws quarterly. So in our bylaw enforcement, we switched strictly to CPO and the officers are busier than usual. In the 4-3, we did 301 files, 57 provincial tickets, 30 bylaw tickets, and 59 warnings. That's in the 3 months. That's with Officer White and myself. The fire department, community report, community events. The fire department hosted several kids groups at the fire hall and tours. Activities over the summer, including town kids summer programs, gymnastic clubs, and homeschool groups. Crews provided rescue standby at the ski hill for the miserable Mount Miles event. The fire conference, the fire department, along with the regional partners, hosted the annual Northern Heat Conference in September, which is very outstanding. Live training for 62 firefighters across Alberta with a conference session of 81 firefighters. So that was all across the northern Alberta and other provinces as well. Fire chief attended the Canadian Association of Fire Chiefs Conference in Winnipeg in September, and keep updating the current trends and technology of the fire service. 2 structure fires in this quarter led to the loss of 4 residents in town. And that's all I have on the fire service there on that one. And that's it for that one. And on my Zoom, you want me to, Madam Mayor, you want me to continue? Okay. So for the month of October, we had 70 files created. Year to date is 108 or 1,084 files created. 8 outstanding. We're down to 8 outstanding files. The overview is CPO Crest writing animal control and traffic bylaws are being rewritten now. CPOs which will be dispatched now from the Lacombe Police, and we will have CPIC in our vehicles coming up. Officer White is working with the Riverboat Association, conducting several encampments and cleanups over the little while there over the last 3 months, which is very much appreciated to the boating association. CPO Crest and CPO White completed encampment cleanup by the museum last Friday, just to finish up that encampment that burnt there a while back. Just to give you an indication, we've written $61,102 in fines and gave out warnings of $26,330. So we're giving a lot of warnings to educate people in town. And that's it. So basically, we did 56 traffic. We did public engagement 1, public complaints were 6, assisted fire by 1, other agencies by 5, that's our CMP, and animal control 1. So we had another dog attack within this last 3 months. It was quite a vicious one, so I'm working now with the province to get the Dangerous Dog Act and work on our animal control bylaw. And that's it for me.
Are there any questions? Director Crest, Councilor Ford?
Yeah, 2 questions. When it comes to the encampments, I know that was previous council's probably top priority. So in the areas, and this is more of I guess an operational question, but when you go into those areas and clean them up, how often do you patrol those areas to make sure they're not being reestablished?
We try to get back within a couple weeks to get back in there and walk around. We just got so much Officer White is the only one that's on the road full time. I'm in the office probably 70%, on the road 30%. So we're trying to, when we work, we try to go together.
Well, that's
Yeah,
a safety
it's a
issue.
safety issue. But yeah, we try to get every couple of weeks, we try to do a loop in there to try to see if there's any encampments.
And my other one is, you and I had a discussion because we went to the open house together the other day. Can you kind of give council a brief update on your new dispatching that you told me about?
Okay, so as hopefully before the end of the new year, our dispatch, we are our own dispatch right now. So as of between now and January first, we're hoping to be dispatched with the Macomb Police. They will be taking all our calls, our emails, and then dispatching us through the computer or on the radio. We will also have CPIC, which is a very effective tool and safety for us. So when we roll up on somebody or have individuals in a camera, we can run their names to see if they're police haters, see if they got warrants. And it makes it safer for us when we're dealing with these individuals, because we can see their background. As of right now, we can't see their background until we go back to the car and make a phone call. So as of hopefully between now and then, we will have full dispatch, police dispatch. As of before January first, hopefully.
Councillor Carr?
Are you or Officer White trained in weights and scales?
Officer White is trained in weights and dimensions. So he just did another refresher course with Officer King, who was here the other day, which we lost her to the southern part of the province. But he will be starting to do weights and measures with scales and that there as well within the next couple weeks after he gets back.
Would you say that's a problem in town? I'm just curious. I've heard talk, but that's why I ask.
I do. I've seen several trucks hauling gravel where the gravel's right to the top of the boards and overlapping. So if the gravel falls off or whatever, so now he can pull them vehicles over and see if they comply within the regulations, within the weights of their vehicle.
Thank you.
Councillor Ford?
This, yeah, more operational questions, but isn't a gravel truck, if they're hauling gravel, and I can't remember this, but are they not supposed to be tarped if they're hauling in town?
Not in Alberta. If we can make a bylaw, then we can do it.
Thought there was one.
No.
No?
So we'll look into this under the bylaw to make gravel trucks in town have their tarps up, so it's safer for other debris falling off or blowing off. But as of right now, no.
Because I used to sit on there was a gravel pit committee, which has been, that one's been old, it's no longer. But it was recommended by one, like I do remember, because we had 3 gravel pits that were on that committee. And the one gravel pit made it mandatory that if one of their trucks left their establishment, that truck had to be tarped. It was part of the rules.
Yeah, that's their rule. Under the province, none right now, but
Huh.
when I left Nova Scotia, it was mandatory strictly across the province that you weren't allowed to haul load without tarp. Here, it's different.
That's a news.
Councillor Hughes?
Just going to the Macomb Police dispatching you guys, is there a cost associated with that? And if so, how much?
There is a cost with it. With the CPIC and dispatch, it's about 15,000 a year for all of us. And right now, we're paying close to 12,000 already. So that's without the CPIC and all the other, just without dispatch at all.
Thank you.
I have a question on unsightly properties, or do you mainly get complaints about those, or do you identify them yourself? And what is the process for that?
So we do get complaints through emails on our emails through the bylaw enforcement at Peace River. And then we address them, we call and deal with them. But if we're driving around and we come across something that's really out popping, then we will stop and deal with it right then and there. But right now, we're just doing reactive, just trying to keep everybody going.
Any more questions for Director Kress? Okay, well, that brings us to the end of number 6. So number 7 is the council monthly event attendance reports for the past mayor, Elaine Manzer, and past deputy mayor, Mark Boychuk. The reports are attached. I guess if you have questions, I probably can't answer them, so. We'll just, go on to a proposed motion there that we move that council accept reports 1 to 7 for information. And Councillor Deuce, will you move that?
Yes,
Thank
I
you.
can make that motion.
Thank you. Next up,
All in favor?
oh, all in favor, sorry. Next up, anything for information, we have none. And then we get to the closed session. So once we move into closed session, that will bring to the end our public portion of the meeting. And we won't be back after we move into closed. So I'll be looking for a motion to move into closed. Thank you, Councillor Carr.
All in favor?
All in favor?